Hey, how you doing? Time for another edition of Top 10 Worst Things of All Time. A compendium of indexed thoughts and ideas designed specifically to debunk all of the bulldink that we've been infused with by our captors and their lapdogs who create a wide array of brainwashing and social engineering and social Darwinism traps that they've laid for us to subdue our humanity into a bunch of brainless zombies, I guess is a good way of putting it. And what a pleasure it is to be my name is Rocky Balboner, and let's get on with it. But first, before we get into today's list, I'd like to I'm obligated to go through some of my disclaimers. Number one, I'm nuts. Okay, it shouldn't be difficult for you to figure out. But I cannot be trusted or relied upon for anything. So anything on this list, please ingest at your own caution. Number two, I'm not partisan. It's going to sound like I am, but I believe that I've applied my scorn towards everybody and everything that exists in today's world. There are no innocents any longer. If you continue to go on, even those who try to deny their place in the world or responsibility for it, they're probably some of the worst examples of sort of menaces to our society to begin with. Because ignorance of what's going on is no excuse from it. What's the driver's ed? They taught me something very valuable in driver's ed. Taught me that ignorance of the law is no exception from it. What they meant in driver's ed was that, if you don't see like a sign that says 55 miles an hour is the speed limit on a side street, and you go zooming down at 90, and the cop pulls you over and you just say, well, I didn't see the sign, cop. And the cop says, oh, well, you should have learned, young person, in your driver's ed class that ignorance of the law is no exception from it. Jibbity-dibbity-doo, ticket given, lesson learned. So anyway, I'm not partisan. I'm not going to be, pulling punches. The punches will be full-throated and directed in all directions. With direction. Number three, I'm trying to create a movement here where all people will love everyone and everything equally together. And the main tool of our ascension from the madness of the divide and conquer methodology of our overlords is simply this. It's the freaking golden rule. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's just that simple. Because no matter how much poison has been infused into your brainstem since the day that you unfortunately were forced to enter into the corporeal existence that is that life on this earth makes us contend with. No matter how much of that your body has been imbued with, there's just only one thing that you can do, man. Because it's like a lot of what we are is hardwired into what we are. I'm going to go, walk over to somebody. I'm a used car salesman. You can probably tell just by looking at me. And somebody will walk into the store and they'll be like, hey man, do you have any blue automobiles? And I'll be like, sure, buddy, we got blue automobiles, but what do you think of this nice beige sports car? And they're like, whoa, I'm sorry, but my favorite color is blue. I don't have the guys from the repair shop come out and drag him out and back and beat his ass until he accepts beige as his favorite color. You just gotta live with it. You say, okay, well, here's the cars I've got in blue, and the guy's happy. But it doesn't matter what you say or you do, or who you beat the hell out of, or you string up, or who you're gonna own. You own the libs or whatever the hell. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't get people to all of a sudden believe in all the things that you want, or live their lives in the way that you want, and tell them to be happy about it and sit there and take it. It's not going to work. It doesn't. Life isn't like that. You like blue. And no matter how much I beat you up to try to get you to accept beige as your favorite color, it's not going to work. Because blue will always be your favorite color. And it's just an impulse. Who knows where that comes from? We don't know. And there's lots of secrets and stuff like that about life and why we're here and where we're going and what's the point. Excuse me. Fact is, it doesn't really even matter. None of that matters. Just accept it. Move on. If people aren't messing with you and they're not causing the murders or whatever, then just live and let live. Buddy, is it really that hard to figure out? We got a lot worse problems than whether or not somebody thinks beige is their favorite color or not. And all the other things that we complain about others and everything like that is all about that same thing. That same self-awareness. Self-awareness is like one of the most important things that we have in this world. Where do you think we are? In some sort of factory, Maserati factory, where everybody, like their goal in life is to get a great Maserati? It shouldn't be anybody's goal in life. The goals in life are to know who you are and to trust in your own self-identity and live that truth. And share the down-home goodness. Anyway, so let's get on with the list for today. Is very exciting. Very exciting list of things that will make you excited. Top 10 people would be fun to replace with Steve Buschemi in the Woodchipper scene from the movie Fargo, but in real life. I know that's a bit of a long-winded title, but I'm a bit of a long-winded person, as you're about to find out, or turn off in the middle of because of the long-windedness. The long-windedness. Number 10, Paul Simon. Okay? I've had enough of this Paul Simon guy to last 1,000 lifetimes. Everybody's all down with Paul Simon. So unmitigated genius. Is like incredibly expressive. Look at all some of the everybody. Paul Simon is a bitch. Okay. Number 1, everybody says that Paul Simon's got this big one. This guy's been doing it for 60 years. He's only got like 3 decent songs after 60 years of doing it. You go album after album of just dreck of, like 90% of the songs on each one of his albums are totally unlistenable and boring as hell. And it'll come out with Kodachrome and you'll be like, oh, okay, whatever. I had to wait for 10 years to come up with that album, that song. And even if you look at his most essential period of Simon and Garfunkel and whatever, and you look at the best of Simon and Garfunkel, I mean, it's all, I was about 75% of the best of Simon and Garfunkel is just forgettable, disposable garbage. He's got a Song of Silence. That's a good song. He's got The Bridge Over the Troubled Waters. That's a good song. And he's got, I don't know, the Kodachromes, maybe, or something. Everything else is trite, boring garbage. The Simon and the Garfunkel go over to the Monterey Festival, and they're practically booing the guys because of how much that crowd, even that crowd, which should have been built in, they should have been fawning over them, like, oh, it's the Simons and the Garfunkel, and they're totally indifferent because these guys, even back then, they knew that these guys were just kind of sellouts, and Paul Simon is just this brooding mess of a dehumanized sort of, I don't know. I mean, Garfunkel was the real talent. The guy could sing like a frickin' angel and harmonize to anything. And Simon's going all over the place, doo and whatnot. And Garfunkel's there every step of the way with the most amazing, transcendent harmonies you've ever frickin' heard. And so what he didn't write the songs. What Paul Simon came up like, okay, the great number. I mean, what is it? Number 5 on the all-time albums of all time of bookends and stuff like that. People like fawning over bookends. What the hell's bookends got on it that's so essential? You got the Mrs. Robinsons on there. I mean, whatever. It's a good song. Okay, I get it. But it's nothing revelatory or whatever. It's not, and they got America on that album. That's a good song. I much prefer the sort of deep cut version of America by the prog rock band Yes, which is just a frickin' jam. But it doesn't have anything, for the most part, to do with the song America. The song America is more of like an excuse for them to load up and go blasting their prog rock into the faces of the non-believers. I mean, these guys are just rocking as hell and tore up America. And you put like the Americans goes of the bookends version, and then you put on the Yes version of it, and it's like it's just like this transcendent. You'll be like, oh my God, this is the truth. I'm finally hearing somebody expressing the truth in this world. Paul Simon, what turned me on to, there's a lot of these guys just go on and on and on and on with all this boring claptrap. They got nothing to say, no life experiences that they infuse into their songs. And I don't know, really, you go for Paul Simon the first 12 or 15 years of his career, and he's got the occasional decent song, which is made, epic by Garfunkel's voice more often than not. And then it becomes few and far between, and then you play some of these albums, and it's got all his solo albums, stuff like that. It's got, One Trick Pony, and you're like, really, I think the One Trick Pony is an overestimation of how many tricks that this particular pony has got. And then it gets worse, because after One Trick Pony was such a bomb, the movie and the music and everything, his career was floundering. The guy, out of total desperation, goes and co-opts the music of South African musicians to save his career. And that's when he puts together Graceland and stuff like that. But here's the real reveal of what a despicable villain Paul Simon really is. It's because when he did that Graceland album, it was during the peak of the boycotting of South Africa. Everybody in the whole freaking world was on the same page to boycott South Africa to help get them to abandon apartheid. And Paul Simon crossed the picket line. He did. And that's when he created this album. And there was all kinds of people who were protesting against him at the time. And he didn't give a rat's ass. And he just went in there, took the music, made the big album, got back on top, and then abandoned all the musicians who helped him salvage his career. Because then by the time of the next album, he went on to another indigenous musical stylings down in South America and dumped all the South Africans. I mean, this guy is a sociopath. This guy needs to be stopped. I mean, hero worshiping this guy is a big, huge mistake. And he doesn't have a lot of great music. For 60 years worth, I would figure that this guy would have album after album. The way people talk about him as being like such an incredibly visionary, such a, wow, Paul Simon, goddammit. And they put him in the Music Hall of Fame and everything like that. He's not that. He's not that guy. He's a guy who, when he was faced with the possibility of his career being over, went ahead and stole a bunch of music, appropriated a bunch of other people's music into his own to make a hit album, and he crossed over the picket lines of during the anti-apartheid movement to do it. That's Paul Simon, the rotten pig dog. Number 9 of the 10 people would be fun to replace with Stove. So you can see Paul Simon like being shoved into a woodchipper, right? In the Fargo scene with the woodchipper, except it's Paul Simon. He's like going like, and he's probably just like hanging, Paul Simon. Why would you do this to Paul Simon? Number 9 of the people would be fun to replace with Steve Buschemi with in the woodchipper scene from the movie Fargo, but in real life, all the politicians. Of course. I mean, it'd be a long movie. It'd be like all woodchipper. But look, I mean, first of all, the Coen brothers who made Fargo probably throw them into the woodchipper too, because they seem to want to avoid having to work with people of color. And yeah, they've had a few people here and there, but a lot of them, like the Wayans guy in Lady Killers is, it's at the level, really of blackface applications, the Rochesters that you used to see in the movies and things like that. They really do treat the Wayans character in the Lady Killers movie like a dehumanized. I'm going to use this just for pedagogical purposes. Sambo. They really do. They treat them like that, and it's. These. The character from No Country for Old Men is shown as like the devil. He's one of the few people of color that they've had in their movies and starring roles. Gus Pitch from Intolerable Cruelty, played by Cedric the Entertainer. It's kind of a scumbag-ish, although seemingly hardworking, private investigator, but still kind of skeezy-ish. I'm running out of examples of all these movies that they've made. No, that's, what's his name? Which is another weirdo guy, Wes Anderson. What's up with Wes Anderson and product placement of cigarettes? How much money do you think that Wes Anderson gets from big tobacco companies for all the cigarettes that he's got in his movies? And he's played around with some weird, sort of like he's got the almost naked children in that movie where the kids run away, and Bruce Willis is trying to Moonlight Kingdom, is it called, or something? In Rushmore, he's got the kid falling in love with the teacher, and that gets a little kind of weird. And I mean, is something going on with this guy? I really think there's a lot more examples of things that from Royal Tenenbaums, and they show like a scene that of brother and sister perhaps indulging in a sex act and stuff, and it's when they were young, and it's just there's a lot of these guys that we sort of ascribe as brilliant auteurs like a Paul Simon, who are really sick-minded, exploitative individuals that don't have any sort of inherent humanity as part of their makeup. But I put all that kind of at number 10. Number 9 is all the politicians, because but you could make if you just did a movie of all Woodchipper with politicians thrown through, that would be the funniest movie that the Coen brothers ever did. Am I right? Watch Matt Gaetz going through the Woodchipper. Hey, I'm Matt Gaetz. And then they get, Pam Bondi. What about the $50,000 stock markets? And you get the wood block to make sure you push Pam Bondi all the way through. Yeah. Now that's a movie I want to see. Not this Melania biopic. What the hell is that? Jesus Christ. Take the world's most uninteresting lizard person, evil looking snake lady, and make a movie about her so that people have to stare at that for 90 minutes. Jesus, what a torture. And I just don't, I couldn't believe it when I first heard about it. And then I was like, I got to watch the trailer for this. I watched the trailer, and, right in the middle of the trailer, for apparently no reason at all, Melania says, "Is it safe yet?" And I'm like watching this going absolutely white-knuckled terror at watching her say that, which is the big line from the movie The Marathon Man. Has anybody ever watched The Marathon Man? It's like this bone-chilling movie from the 70s that Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier. Laurence Olivier is this old school Nazi party member from Nazi Germany, when they got some kind of like scam going, and then they capture Dustin Hoffman because they think that he knows too much, and he puts him in a dentist chair, and he's torturing him with elements from the dentist's office. And rather than, the sort of types of questions that you might get in like regular, what did you know? When did you know it? Who did you tell? So on and so forth. To make it more terrifying, all Laurence Olivier says over and over again is it safe? Is it safe? And then it's the same line that Melania says for no reason at all, with no contextual anything, right smack dab in the middle of the freaking trailer. And I'm like going like, what the hell was that? Is that sort of some callback to The Marathon Man? And just when I saw it, I was like, I can't explain it in any other way. Maybe there is something else, but I got a feeling, an instinct that just, seeing these people in action, who they are, and their, how they have no natural predators anymore in this world, and they can just unleash and do whatever they want to do. Just watch, it's just bone chilling. See this creepy Nazi lizard lady saying, "Is it safe?" for no reason at all in the middle of this thing. And it's what makes it more terrifying is that nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. Nobody remembers The Marathon Man. How soon we forget. Number 8 of the top 10 people it would be fun to replace with Steve Buschemi in the Woodchipper scene, or replace Steve Buschemi with in the Woodchipper scene, from Fargo, but in real life, Madonna's plastic surgeon. Now, I know that I'm not supposed to comment on people's looks, but number one, either these creatures aren't people with this plastic surgery up the yin yang, or it's not them. It's not them anymore because it's 90% plastic. So either I'm not commenting on human features at all, I'm just commenting on surgical adroitness. Not actually commenting on Madonna's face with a big puffy one that released was like a freaking horror movie. I'm sorry, but it is. And it's not her I'm commenting on. At some point, the plastic surgery ends and the organic body begins, organic face begins. But I'm not commenting on the organic face. I'm commenting on what the surgeon did. So I'm commenting only on the surgery for those of you naysayers who are looking to cancel culture me. But the fact is that the surgery made her look like a freaking monster. What were they thinking? And there's so many of them. They're just like, I don't know. It's just like a thing. It's like rapidly becoming, like acceptable for people like Lauren Sanchez to look like the freaking Joker, Jack Nicholson Joker. And people are just kind of like going like, oh yeah, look at her. It's horrifying to think that that's what people think of as beauty, maybe, or something, or that's what people think of as just sort of all right and great, laudable. We should be complimenting them for some reason. So Madonna's plastic surgeon, I don't know who they are, but it's sort of a placeholder for all the plastic surgeries and all the unnecessary glamorization of looks. I mean, really, when it comes right down to it, people say they shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but we all judge books by the cover. That's the only thing that we use for judging books at this point, and it's all a bunch of covers. Clickbait, beefcake, cheesecake, jailbait. That's all people care about. Number 7 of 10 people would be fun to replace Steve Buschemi with in the Woodchipper scene from the movie Fargo. Chris Brown. You got to throw in Chris Brown into the Woodchipper. I mean, that guy beat the hell out of Rihanna, and his career just took off after that. And, that's just, I suppose it's parcel... par for the course of what we've become in society at this juncture. But it's, it's a damn shame. I think I got pulled up some fact when I was researching the Grammys and how horrible and phony they are, how it perpetuates surface-mindedness and demonization of cultural achievements. And Chris Brown has either won or been nominated for like 20 Grammys since he beat the hell out of Rihanna. Why is this guy getting major league heavy rotation spins? I'll tell you why. It's because of those rotten bastards Clear Channel, that corporation that bought out 75% of the major market radio stations throughout the country. These are the same guys who invented Rush Limbaugh. And they took the guy, Robert Pittman, who was the head of MTV, who brainwashed everybody in the country into thinking that posers are adequate representations of the cultural ambitions and achievements of people in our society. Where they got a bunch of people like come on and stuff like that, where they're just kind of bouncing around in a bunch of hipster looking outfits and whatnot. And when they've got, sort of marginal talent and zero virtuosity and expressiveness, where it becomes about, what designer are you wearing instead of what thoughts are you trying to express? And it's all speaks to the intentional dumbing down and dulling down of the human condition as they place a shroud over our souls and try to compromise us into being easily manipulated sheeple. And Chris Brown is just as good as any of them to throw into the woodchipper, because, I mean, this guy's somebody who probably has it coming, right? He threw a freaking chair out of like a 7-story window, right, during a Good Morning interview, a Good Morning America interview or something crazy like that, on the Times Square, in some kind of crazy fit. Chris Brown, what a jerk off. Why would anybody reward this guy with major league spins if you aren't pathological, right? And so that shows us the true nature of those giving him the major market spins in radio. It shows us their true nature. So they're doing us a favor by showing it, but nobody's registering it. Nobody's putting it together. Nobody's doing anything about it. But, rewarding. They converted their name to iHeartRadio and everything like that. And everybody's just like, ooh, suckle on the corporate teat. Give us some more. And then they migrated all the evil from their spirits into a wide, vast network of destructive practices, such as replacing all the musicians with computers and software, creating a whole bunch of manufactured idols, modeled after Milli Vanilli, who have no talent whatsoever, who are just like made into stars because they're dumb, or they're the children of rich people, and they won't color outside the lines when somebody puts a microphone in front of them. They're incapable of it. Or people who are just looking like jailbait, like Britney Spears and stuff like that, have nothing to say, nothing to do, and no real talent. And they quaff them with dozens of professionals, and they edit the hell out of their music videos to make it look like they've got talent of some type. But it's all just a cheap fashion show that they replace music, which is the most liberating, expressive thing that we've got. The gift of music is precious, and it does things to benefit our lives and change our mood from sad to happy and positive, makes us more productive. Well, they've infused it with product placement, so that like a lot of songs like Versace on the Floor by that pig Bruno Mars, where they've got all these various different types of people doing stuff like that. I mean, what Cardi B's sister is named Hennessy, for God's sakes, after the booze, and they've got all kinds of different does it Maybach music. They've got a hip hop star who's does a little bit of like a sample of like having a lady saying Maybach music over and over again to advertise the Maybach auto and I think motorcycle manufacturing corporation. It's on and on and on. Certain songs like there's a song Toby Keith again has I talked about earlier with Red Solo Cup, which was just a promotion for the Red Solo Cup company because it was on the trading block. People were trying to sell it. So they came up with the Red Solo Cup song, made it more popular, made the company more valuable in the days before they actually were trying to sell the company. But he also has another one called I Love This Bar, and he has a bar called I Love This Bar. So he's doing a song that's a 3-minute infomercial for his bar that he owns, and it's on and on and on. I haven't listened to terrestrial radio for a while, but I was listening to a lot of it back in the day and heard a lot of these things and just kind of going like, what the hell are people even listening to this stuff for? Why are they creating this thing? And if you really want to trace the lineage of this and really want to get into the why to's and wherefores of why we're being exposed to this, you can't do that without looking at Bill Clinton, who signed the Telecommunications Act of 1996, which is the pivotal point which all this stuff takes place because of. because the Telecommunications Act of 1996 is what allowed Clear Channel to be able to buy up all these major market radio stations and create what amounts to basically a Nazi propaganda device that they've used to do social engineering to turn us all into a bunch of mindless, obedient drones ever since. And, excuse me, why did Clinton sign it? Why? He knew, and you got to really think about what types of, beyond just the lip service, what are these Democratic higher-ups and mucky-mucks actually representing? Because it seems an awful lot to me like they're representing, the same types of things that the higher-level Republicans are, which is the agenda items of our overlords. Because, we could have had national health insurance, but who was it that destroyed the National Health Initiative? Right at a time when the Democrats had both houses in Congress, and public sentiment was like, yeah, let's get a single payer option in here. The rest of the world's got it, and so on and so forth. Time was right and perfect. Who destroyed the National Healthcare Initiative? And we've never had it ever since, unless you want to consider the watered down version that Obama managed to barely put in place. That's right, Hillary Clinton. For some reason, without any healthcare experience, without any experience with the red tape of Washington, and when they turned over the National Healthcare Initiative to Hillary Clinton, and all she needed to say was, it's Medicare for all, that's it. And instead, she puts together this plan that basically was like a phone book. I'm not even kidding. A phone was, not only they didn't bring it up for a vote because it was unreadable. And I think that she intentionally submarined the effort to get us national health, because she and Bill and Rahm Emanuel and all the mayors of Chicago and a lot of the other big cities, I'm guessing, were never out to help the working class or the blue collar types and everything like that. They were just talking about it, but in the meantime, they were using the fifth column operative type of methodology to fool people and to pass all this stuff. I mean, you look at the accomplishments of the Clinton regime, and it's all a laundry list of right-wing, ultra-right-wing objectives. It's a wish list. Everything from repealing the Glass-Steagall all the way up to the Defense of Marriage law that he signed. It's a litany. It's a bloodbath of progressive ideals. Don't ask, don't tell, sets back gay rights for 30 years, on and on and on. Right? And you take a look at who they are, and take a look at Hillary. Hillary was a Republican throughout her formative years. And this is not conspiratorial. This is something that you should look up. I want you to look up. Don't trust me. Look at me. Does it look like I'm worth trusting? Go look it up. She was a volunteer for, of all people, Barry Goldwater, the poster boy for ultra right-wing Republicans. And, this is when she was very young. She was volunteering for Barry Goldwater. Do you not get it? She also I think she went down to the Republican convention in 1968 down in Miami Beach and met with Richard Nixon. So she didn't become a Democrat till after all of that, after all of her former years. Democrat, I should say. And Elizabeth Warren, too. She was an ultra-right-wing Republican for all of her formative years, and only changed over when it became politically expedient for her to run for Senate in Massachusetts. And you watched, it's just so pathetic and so so emblematic of how people have just sort of embraced the whole idea of ignorance being bliss, that they won't even pay attention to the people around them who are doing all these things to them. Even if 88% of the growth in the wealth of the billionaire class in the last 4 years It's just nothing gets through to people. They just keep going on autopilot, going like, oh, it'll fix itself, it'll fix itself. I think I'll go march. They make a funny sign and they go march on a nice Sunday afternoon or whatever, and they think that's it. That's the be all end all of their commitment to being a decent citizen and a productive human being. I don't get it. And a lot of people like blowing whistles and stuff like that. Yeah, great, keep people safe. Yeah, but do you think that's just going to perpetuate the anger? It's going to perpetuate the repression that they're going to have to put into place in order to be able to stop that? People are getting murdered on the streets. Well, let's just keep blowing whistles and stuff like that. I mean, what does it take before, how many people need to die before you start to put together an actual plan that makes a real difference in the way that our government is formed and what they do? God damn it. Number 6 of the 10 people would be fun to replace Steve Buschemi with in the Woodchipper scene from Fargo, the band Fish, but really mostly the lead guy, Trey Anastasio. That guy. Swear to God, man, you watch him play, it's like, oh, look at how good I am. Look at how good my band is. Look at how great my guitar playing is. And look at how expensive my guitar is. My guitar is muy expensivo. That's Trey Anastasio. And I watch him, I'm going like, Jesus freaking Christ. It's like he's mailing it in. There's not a single shred of humanity in his shredding. It's all just sort of like him. It's manifestation of his poser mentality. Like, oh, Trey Anastasio. Let's meet in the parking lot and we'll blow a boofer. It's just like, Dave Matthews Band is another one. Dave Matthews shows up. I'm not going to dump on Dave Matthews too much. He did something recently that was actually pretty impressive, where he was giving of himself and supportive of, so many of the people who are living through such hardship and torture in our society, and going about fixing it the wrong way, to be honest with you, and inviting more of a crackdown. So whether it's making a military response inevitable, and once they get the excuse for that, it's over. Katie bar the door. They'll go door to door, and they'll be ripping people out of their houses and stuff like that. There's no reason to keep the human race around at all anymore. The upper crusties will keep a few farms and stuff of human beings to vary the gene pool once in a while, to grow and harvest vital organs, and to for Hunger Game purposes and torture for their own entertainment. But there's no reason to keep the human race other than that. Anybody. So try to keep that in mind when you're out there, blowing whistles and stuff like that to antagonize the early stages of the militarization of this country, because once they, find or manufacture the excuse to escalate the military intervention, there's no coming back. There is no coming back. And you can go out and, I don't know, millions. It'll just give them an excuse to bring in bigger. I mean, they've got all that excess Iraqi war surplus that they brought back here, and all kinds of different things. And that's not even including their ability to be able to roll out some of the AI attack robots, which, once they get those things online, it's just, I don't know if you've seen them, but forget about it. Number 5, people would be fun to replace Steve Buschemi with in the Woodchipper scene from Fargo. Tobacco company executives. How is it that these guys are running around doing whatever they want to do without being tortured in the middle of a public square? Here's guys whose main goals are to, 1, market cigarettes to kids, because they know that most people who become lifelong addicts to tobacco start smoking their smoking habit by their 15th birthday. So they have to market to kids. Okay, talk about child abuse, everything like that. Child abuse comes in more forms than just molestation of their physical bodies. You can also ruin the lives of kids and attitudes by lying to them about Santa, you rotten pig, or marketing bubblegum flavored vape cartridges to them so that they become addicts for life by their 15th birthday, and so on and so forth. But then the tobacco company executives also on his high on his to-do list, infusing chemicals into tobacco to make the nicotine more addictive and harder to give up. They got you. They're marketing to kids. They playing around with the chemicals to make it impossible to give up tobacco. And 480,000 Americans die from it every year. Okay, it's close to 10,000 a day. More than 10,000 a day. But I get it. You want to be, all oblivious about everything that's going on, and you think that you know it all, and you know who the villains are, and you're got a handle on it. You've got the big picture. But let's just dig down deep. As long as I got you for this, let's talk about the Truth Campaign. If you remember, right around 1999, something like that, the United States government signed a settlement with the Big Tobacco, which was sold to us as a means of finally getting back at these murderers and trying to destabilize them, and to the point where you could take them out of business or have them act, more fair and stuff like that, and punish them for the amount of death and expense that they've caused through their horrific, murderous intentions to make a profit. And at the time, 430,000 Americans died from tobacco-related causes every year. Now, as it so happens, our good friend Bill Clinton, the fake Democrat, the fifth column operative, signed that the Truth Settlement, tobacco omnibus, blah, 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 there's a real name to it. And what it did was it allowed Big Tobacco to start advertising on television again, where they had been banned from television for a long time, and you start to see a bunch of product placement with people smoking all over the place on TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And then the Truth Campaign, which they made the cigarette companies indulge in for a year or two or whatever, all was really cleverly designed to play on our psychoanalytical impulses, because they kept using the words tobacco and cigarette in their commercials, and these were trigger words. So what happened was they have these truth campaigns, which is supposedly, at least it was sold to us as something that would try to diminish the use of tobacco products. But by putting it on television, people would hear the word tobacco, people would hear the word cigarette, and it would be a trigger word, and they'd go out and smoke. So smoking actually skyrocketed after this truth campaign, which is supposedly designed to protect the working classes from being exploited for profit by these murderers. But just didn't work out like that. Number 4, Robert Pittman. He goes back to talking about it earlier about Clear Channel and MTV and all. Robert Pittman is such an enormous Nazi, and his efforts have wound up with destroying more souls in this world than the Nazi propagandists could ever have dreamt of. In fact, if he was still around today, Joseph Goebbels would be kneeling at Robert Pittman's feet and kissing the rings. Would make him wet his lederhosen. Okay? And I'm not exaggerating. Robert Pittman is the most evil, malevolent propagandist in the history of the human race, bar none. I mean, it's a walk. It's like a bazillion times more destructive than anyone else. And he's ours. He belongs to the American race. Robert Pittman. Number 3, the Jonas Brothers. How awesome would it be I don't know. The guy with the big ears isn't probably going to fit in the wood chipper. You're going to have to get that wooden block that we were using for, what was it, the Madonna's plus. You got to get the wooden block, to force him through the wood chipper. That's the big-eared Jonas Brother guy. But you got to start throwing some of those guys in a wood chipper, or we're just going to be stuck like this the rest of the eternity. The Holly Montanas and the stuff, and the Honey Boo Boos and Mama Boo Boo or whatever. It's just. I mean, why is it only the good people who get thinned out, and all the most horrible people? I know what it is. It's called social Darwinism. Another thing that you're totally oblivious of in this world that that all of us are having to suffer for. It's when they make it economically advantageous for certain types of people to be successful in this world economically, and it effectively makes it impossible for other types to be economically successful. So you have the Hannah Montanas of the world being successful in music, and you have the Jeff Buckleys of the a good one, a better one is the Pink Moon guy. Who's that guy? The Pink Moon guy who dies. This is the most expressive and sensitive person. There's a Nick Drake. There's ever been anywhere in any art expressive form. Is Nick Drake comes along, and he's just the most tender, feeling, emotive person ever. And he puts out these albums that are all remarkable and brilliant and so expressive and deeply human. And they can't get any traction, and he just sort of dies of despair and loneliness and neglect. And in the meantime, we've got Hannah Montana's got the egomaniac and Bruno Mars, who does, just like complete garbage. How many different riffs of different people's music did he steal for Uptown? Was that Uptown Funk or whatever? What a horrible bunch of rat bastards. And that's what social Darwinism is. You give all the money over to the Bruno Marses of the world, and you take all the money and attention away from the Nick Drakes of the world. The Nick Drakes die of neglect, and the Bruno Marses walk around like their turds don't stink. Number 2, of the 10 people will be afraid that's more than 10 people. The people that think the movie Usual Suspects is a cool and super clever movie, they need to go into the wood chipper too. Because I'm tired of all these pompous people thinking like they're turned on to like their sort of sleeper movie, cult movie and stuff like that. And they're going about, oh, I've seen The Usual Suspects. Wow, it's fascinating. What an incredibly, plot twist. A plot twist. Hot soup. It's not hot soup. Usual Suspects is stupid. It's the stupidest movie ever, and people think that, Usual Suspects, well, think about it. Okay, the plot of the movie is like this guy named Kaiser Soze is this like really sort of cloister villain. First of all, it makes him seem super cool and everything like that. So they're glamorizing criminality and whatnot. He's like this mastermind, and this cool thing is killing everybody and blah, blah, blah. And all it goes back to when his family was killed in front of him. And he's like, oh, wow, man, like people killed my family. So I'm going to be like this super cool super villain and stuff like that and whatever. So it's already, bad footing or trying to indoctrinate us into glamorizing criminality and pathology, really. But on top of that, the plot itself of what they're doing is infantile. They got, here comes this Kaiser Soze guy, and he has this elaborate plot to involve a bunch of career criminals to provide a smokescreen for a scam that he's trying to pull to murder the last person that can identify who he is. who can bear witness to who Kaiser Soze really is, right? And so he has this fake drug deal and stuff. He puts these criminals together, and he blackmails them, goes through all these elaborate lengths to make sure that they are on board to pull off this drug deal thing. And it turns out that in the movie, the drug deal is a scam. It was just designed to find a way to assassinate the one guy who could identify Kaiser Soze. But in the movie, the Kaiser Soze guy is sitting in a spoiler alerts, sitting in a police station, surrounded by 100 cops for like a day, being fingerprinted and booked and everything like that. So now 100 and something cops from the precinct that he was brought into are now witnesses to who Kaiser Soze is and what he looks like and that he exists. The whole plot of the movie is supposed to be like to get the one guy who can identify him dead. In the process, he now has like 100 cops who are witnesses to who he is, and he's got fingerprints and everything. It's like, people thinking like, oh wow, what a psychological twist. Unbelievable. And it's just like I'm watching it going like, this is the dumbest thing of all time. He goes through jumps through all these hoops, put all these people through all this stuff and whatnot. And then a bunch of people die just to kill off this one guy, which he probably could have just killed with an assassin's bullet. I mean, they can shoot freaking those guns from like, the army's got and stuff. They can kill somebody from a mile away. What the hell? And then they got, like this whole big plot thing to get rid of the one people who's an eyewitness to who he is and what he looks like. In the meantime, he's got like 125 witnesses who are all cops now, where he's got photographs and fingerprinted and everything because he was booked, everything like that. What a stupid movie. How does it that people think that that's a smart movie? And the other one I talked about this in one of the previous lists, was Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes at the end of the movie is like, oh, you rotten bastards. You killed Planet Earth. Sees the destroyed Statue of Liberty, and he finally realizes it's Planet Earth. He should have realized it was Planet Earth the minute he heard the apes speaking English. What do you think? English is just like populates throughout the world in the exact form of the English speakers would use, and he's off on some weird planet in the future or whatever, and they're speaking perfect English. I mean, it's just stupid. Get out of my face with the stupid already. All right, number one, top person it would be fun to replace Steve Buscemi with in the Woodchipper scene from the movie Fargo. Number one is the lizard people. Okay, yeah, it's more than one person. Okay, it sounds like a cop-out, but you're the one who's a cop-out. I'm the one who's out here doing a list in a venue where just the only thing that you get out of this venue is a bunch of jerk-offs who want to fight you because you say something that they don't exactly see eye to eye on. No, it's time to fight because you said something that has a tiny little bit of difference between what I believe in. You must be one of them. Anyway, the lizard people, you got to get rid of these guys, okay? Melania, Jared Kushner, some of these other lizard people. Benedict Cumberbatch, Jeff Zuckerberg, Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't have the list in front of me. I wish I did, because it's a super freaking long list and it's getting longer all the time. All these freaking people with their high cheekbones and their snake eyes and the slimy looking skin and whatnot. Who's that guy who does the Loki guy? The Loki guy, he's in there and stuff. Carrot Top. Lizard people. Anyway, that's all the time I've got for this thing. Is going way over time. It's meant to be. I designed this thing to be like a 10-minute long thing, but I gotta go down. I gotta like sort of diminute the list. I gotta do top 3, top 10. This takes too long. Nobody's got the type of time to dedicate towards unraveling the mysteries of the universe. Nobody wants to know about any of this stuff. They're so tied in. They're so committed to the ignorance is bliss ideology that we've had, it's secretly infused into the back of our subconscious, so that we can't, think of anything deeper than surface mindedness. Is just, it befuddles us. The eyes glaze over, and we're like, please, God, make it stop. Anyway, so here's the outro with the disclaimers. Everything I said here is just opinions. That's all the time I got. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being you.